Hey, good morning, everybody. It is 10:25 a.m. Pacific West Coast time. It is Monday, January 13th, 2025, the second Monday in 2025. And, I go on the internet, and as a wrestling fan, I try to pay attention to what other people say, like what JD from NY206 of Off the Script says, what Solomonster, Jason Solomon of Solomonster Sounds Off says, what Alex Hicks, which is spelled ALYX, Alex Hicks of Just Alex has to say, what OTRS Central has to say, what Good Mic Work, A&B Convos, and all of them have to say. I listen to them to get their opinion on certain things and, kind of get their thoughts on reports given out by the likes of reliable likes, if you will, like people like, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, of Mike Johnson, of PW Insider, Russell Votes, and a few others. As well as give their thoughts on those that, nowadays or in the past year have kind of not been themselves when it comes to trying to get kind of almost accurate, if not close to accurate, reporting from sources. But I want you to look at what you see on the screen here. Now, one of the big news items that came out of this week was from AEW. AEW, over the past 2 weeks, has had not just the past 2 weeks, the past week period, has had Buddy Matthews and Brody King be endorsed by both Will Ospreay and Cope, Adam Copeland, aka Edge. And both of them have said that they need to step out of the shadows and that they don't need a leader, or they need to take the reins and be the leader. And what's interesting is they never mentioned the leader that they follow. They never mentioned their name. They never mentioned, Malakai Black, who is the leader, the frontman of the House of Black. They never did. They never mentioned it whatsoever. And why? Well, speculated rumor has been running rampant that Malakai is gone from AEW. Yeah. He's gone from AEW despite reports that his contract actually goes to 2027, but there are optional years to get out before then. Now, we don't know if that's an option year that he put into his contract when he signed with AEW or his lawyer put in during his time there. We don't know. We don't know. But the reason I put this up here, this brewery, this Magnoramus Brewery at Seminole Heights, or Magnoramus Brewery Seminole Heights images, courtesy of Google Maps. The reason I put this up here is because this has significance when it comes to Malakai and why he wasn't at AEW this past week or at Collision, most importantly, this past Saturday, where the House of Black has been known to be showcased more so than anything over the past year. And why is this significant to him? Why? Why is this significant to him? Well, when you look at it, you say, well, it's a brewery. It's got arcades. It's got plenty of space to dine and have beers and stuff. Yes, that's true. And you look at it and you say, it feels like it's just a regular brewery, right? That's true. But there's more to it. It's actually a bigger building. It's actually bigger than what it looks like on the outside. Especially if you drive a little to the back, you'll kind of get that idea that it's a little bit bigger than what it seems when you first see it. But again, what does this have to do with Malakai? I'll tell you what it has to do with him. What it has to do with him is he, on Saturday night, was competing there in front of a smaller crowd than what even AEW has, but probably sold out. No doubt. No doubt they were sold out. Unlike AEW. But he was competing there at a brewery, in the back of the brewery, where you could see they had a lot of the, I guess you could say, barrels, if you will, barrels of beer, wine, whiskey, whatever, all stored up to be brought out to the floor, to the back of the bar on the floor, to basically refill all the fountains so that the bartenders can basically, fill up the bottles or fill up the glasses of the customers that are there to have a drink. That's where he was on Saturday. And you know what's crazy? A lot of people that looked at the video that you could find on X, on Twitter, and those that were probably there, all of them have said that he looked a lot more happier to be there than he was with AEW. This here is a prime example, as a lot of people put it, that Tony Khan is basically showing his true colors now. He's showing his true colors, that he's nothing more than a fan that's like, ooh, I signed a quarter, and soon I'm going to get Omega, and all in Texas, yeah, all in Texas, Continental Championship, 90-minute Iron Man match, non-stop, and then if it's a draw, we'll go for another 90 minutes, because that's pure pro wrestling, yeah. Tony Khan is showing his true colors by being something like that. I mean, you know what's even crazier? Look at this image I just put up. This is for next Saturday. It's part of the Maximum Carnage week. Collision. You have a 12-man tag team match. And that's my glasses I'm putting down on the frustration, because I do agree with those like Alex Hicks, JD, Solomonster, and all that. What sense does this make? What sense does this make? I mean, you are putting on one side two guys that a lot of fans have pointed out, even those that defend All Elite Wrestling, have pointed out have been at each other's throats in recent years, have had violent matches in recent years, has had a rivalry that dates back to WWE. And now you're putting them on the same side with each other, that being Moxley and Jericho? What sense does that make? What sense does that make? And then on the other side, you have FTR and the Outrunners, and you've teased something between them, and Hobbs and Copeland, and it's like, what do any of this have in common? I mean, why is Hobbs even there? He's got a title match on Wednesday. That's great. And probably the only way they'll get anybody to tune in anymore is if they put the damn belt on Hobbs. And yeah, I'll give him credit when you look at the highlights on YouTube, and Mox hitting Hobbs in the back with a chair and Hobbs no selling it. Yeah, that's a good way to basically make people kind of tune in, kind of think, and maybe tune in and be like, oh, Hobbs is going to destroy Mox, and he's going to become champion. But we all know that's not going to happen, right? We all know that. You only did that to basically make it look like he's going to win. We've seen it before. Yeah, it's going to get people to maybe tune in, but then what? Same result as always. Same result as always. Same result as always. Mox is going to win. We know that. We know that's going to happen. We know that. Point is, I bring this up because this is the reason why the likes of Malakai Black, Penta, by the way, and I'll get into that in a moment, Penta El Zero Miro, Pentagon Jr., and others want out of AEW because of bull crap like this. What sense does that make? I mean, let me ask you guys that may not be true hardcore fans, you might be casual or semi-casual. Let me ask you, Sid, what sense does that make? What sense does that make when you look at that match graphic? And you say to yourself, well, it gets a lot of people on the... Now, you might say, well, it gets a lot of people on the card. Yeah, that's great. But what sense does it truly make? It makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. I mean, you're putting Hobbs in this match? Now, the only way you could take him out is maybe an angle on Wednesday, but you're putting Hobbs in this match? And on the other side, you had Wheeler Yuta? It'd make more sense if you put Jay White, on the team with Copeland, the Outrunners, and FTR. It'd make more sense if you did that than have Hobbs. It doesn't make any sense. And this is why, when you look at images of Malakai Black, choosing to be at Coastal Championship Wrestling, in Tampa, Florida, at Magnoramus's brewery, Seminole Heights, it makes you realize why they'd rather be there than part of that, because even though they might have a small sellout crowd in the back of a freaking brewery, that Malakai, Tommy End, Aleister Black, whatever you want to call him, rather be there than be part of this, whole cluster blankety blag. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And you know what's crazy? When AEW, and I said I was going to mention this, when AEW had Pentagon Jr., Penta El Zero Mero, and they had Rey Fenix, the Lucha Brothers, they could have, merchandise-wise, sold a crap ton of Lucha masks, a crap ton of gloves, Penta gloves, if you will, a crap ton of shirts, you name it. But did they do that? No. They may have sold a shirt here and there, but they didn't do anything else. Instead, who do they put the mask on? Or who do they sell a mask for? Hologram, Aries, or Azel, whatever his other name is. That's the only person they do it for. And he's on the injured list now. So that was a great idea, wasn't it? That was a great idea. Well, guess what? Guess what WWE did? Guess what WWE did? This is what WWE did. Now, it was already revealed about 2 weeks ago that Penta was coming in. And it's pretty much confirmed he debuts tonight. Because people thought he was going to debut last week, but they got so much going on, they're like, no, we can't do that. So we got to move that, the Women's Intercontinental Championship Final, and a few others to the following week. That's fine. That's fine. You don't want to... You want to focus more on the presentation and give people an idea of, hey, this is what we're capable of, if not more. Hey, you see this vignette we put up for this Penta person? Hey, you might want to tune in for that. So they were just doing their job, presenting, what WWE has to offer to those that may know about it, but don't know who's involved and stuff like that. And obviously it worked, because they got about 5 million viewers that tuned in, if not more. And again, when I say if not more, that's not counting the replays. But this is what they did. This popped up this morning. And I don't know if it's still there. I'm going to check. Because sometimes somebody will pop it up, and then basically WWE will have that person that popped it up take it down, because they don't want no reveal. But nope, it's there. I see it. Penta. Already. He's not even debuted yet. Already has merchandise more than AEW and Tony Khan would ever do. And if that's not enough, look at this. You got 2 different variations of his mask. You got a hoodie, you got a t-shirt, 2 different t-shirts. You got him posing in it already. It's authentic. And I guarantee you, those masks tonight will be worn. That's right, those masks tonight will be worn. And you know where his debu's happening? You know his debu's happening? His debut is happening basically in my backyard. Now, I don't mean legitimately in my backyard. I'm talking the Bay Area, San Jose, California. And I have family that lives out there. But yeah, that's where his debu's happening. And it's going to be in front of a sold-out SAP Center. And Bailey's going to be there, and people will sell out that place just for her. They're going to sell it out, you know, for CM Punk and Seth Rollins. It's like, it's like Penta is going to be in front of a larger crowd than he ever was in AEW. And I'm even including when AEW would have sellouts and stuff or close to him. He's going to be in front of a much bigger crowd tonight. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny? It wasn't that long ago that AEW ran the SAP Center too. And they didn't sell it out. They didn't. I'm going to look this up. I am going to look this up, ladies and gentlemen. Whoo! I am just like, okay. So, let's see what this is back in October, not even that long ago. October. Let's see what this says. It's got to be here somewhere. Distributed on October 16th, 3,464. And that was for Dynamite. That was for Dynamite. That was for Dynamite. Let's see what New Japan did. New Japan went to a theater. They went to the San Jose Civic Theater, right? Okay, they did 1,664. That's a smaller venue, but it's sold. It's sold. Okay? Dynamite only sells 3,464 in the SAP Center. You want to know how big the SAP Center is in San Jose? You want to know how big it is? It has a capacity of 17,562. And Dynamite in October only sold and distributed 3,464? What? What sense does that make? They would have done better to sell out the Civic Center or the Civic Theater like New Japan did. Yeah, they would have done better to sell tickets for Dynamite and Collision at the Civic Theater than there. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. In fact, I'm going to look up WrestleTix right now on Twitter. I'm going to look them up right now. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Let's see what they are. Okay. So, let's see. Monday Night Raw. Current setup is for 12,943. Okay, because they got to do the stage and all that. That's fine. Guess what's been distributed as of 5 hours ago? But, okay, they gave an update. You know, it says, current set says tickets available for this. You know, tickets available of 407. Current setup is for 12,943. Tickets distributed 12,536. And then they added more seats, and about 49 minutes ago, those new seats are just about gone too. I don't get this. I don't get this. You know, I don't get it. So, they opened up more seats, right? They opened up more seats, which was like 788 more. And those seats are about gone too. Oh! WWE. Not even four WWE, not even 4 months later, it's going to be 4 months this week, but not even 4 months later, blows AEW out of the water. And Penta is going to be in front of a crowd much larger than that. You know, than what AEW had. It's like, what? It's like, what is Tony Khan thinking? Does he not realize that he is the issue? That what you see here with Penta, what you see here with Penta, the WWE's already got up, that could have been his. But no, he's more like, oh, I gotta do Pentagon Jr. I gotta do Penta as in the middle against Kenny Omega. 90-minute Iron Man match. Whee! That's his mentality. That's his mentality. And WWE's only making a shitload. Excuse my language, God. WWE's only making a shitload of money off of the mask alone. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But that my friends is not enough. You think Malakai, like I showed you earlier, and here Penta, and you can see the look on his face. He's elated to be there. I mean, just to take a picture of him posing with his new T-shirt before he even debuts, that shows you people would rather be in WWE than AEW. But it's not just WWE they'd rather be at. It's not just that either. Because you know what? Outside of Malakai, Alistair, Tommy End, Penta, Ray Phoenix when he finally gets out, CM Punk way before them, you know, and even Cody Rhodes to an extent, and Lexis King, who's that Heritage Cup champion. You know who else? You know who else probably wants out and rather be staying in Japan instead of going back? This girl, Athena, a.k.a. Ember Moon. Yeah, longest reigning Ring of Honor champion of all time, both men and women apparently. And I know people will argue that and say, well, that's not entirely true. She's just the longest reigning champion of the Tony Khan AEW Ring of Honor. And that's true. That's legit if you want to look at it that way. But, you know, Tony Khan and everybody else that supports him wants him to make it a big deal of it's all of Ring of Honor. Not just the Tony Khan regime, AEW regime of it, or, you know, continuation of it, but all of Ring of Honor. And if they want to believe that, that's fine. They have the right to believe that. But the point is, she's the longest reigning champion of the AEW era of Ring of Honor. Let's be honest about that. But, I want you to look at this. I want you to actually look at this as I try to measure it better. But I actually want you to look at this, okay? I want you to look at this as I try to get it better here for a second, guys. I want you to look at this, okay, side by side. This, like I said, is Athena, Ember Moon, finishing up her tour with Stardom, which is owned by the same people that own New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is her ending her tour with Stardom into an extension New Japan. And she, according to this, basically, Corrigan Hall is chanting Athena's name while she is in tears, basically. Yeah, let me let me blow that up a little bit more so you guys can read that. It says Corrigan Hall is chanting Athena's name. Well, she almost breaks down in tears. Yeah, and you could see that look on her face. That's raw emotion. Raw emotion, folks. And this is something that Tony Khan is ignoring when it comes to the fans and his talent. He has Athena, one of the best in-ring competitors today. He has Athena on his developmental show. Because that's what Ring of Honor is. That's what Ring of Honor is. It is AEW's developmental now. He has, let's be honest, he has basically desecrated what Ring of Honor originally was. And it's nothing more than developmental now. That's all it is. All it is developmental. You can put in all the talents you want. Chris Jericho, you can make it the champion. That's fine. You can make these people the tag champs. That's fine. Who are the tag champs anyway? I don't know. Oh yeah, the Sons of Texas. The Sons of Texas. You know, Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes. You can make them the tag champs. Whoopee. You know, and I say it with all due respect to Dustin. I like Dustin. I've always liked Dustin Rhodes. But whoopee, you can make the Sons of Texas champions. 6-man tag titles. Who's the 6-man? Oh yeah, Dustin and the Von Erichs. The Von Erichs who just signed with AEW. Who knows how long that's going to be. And then, who's the women's television champion? Red Velvet. Who's the pure champion? Lee Moriarty. Who's the television champion? Commander. I know, it's surprising that I know who the champions are because, hey, I'm a wrestling fan and I do pay attention. You know, I do pay attention so that when the opportunity comes for me to actually watch the show, or at least give it a chance again, I'll know what's going on. But, yeah, you could put the likes of Jericho, Dustin Rhodes, you know, Athena, if you will. You could put them as your champions and some of your main champions in Ring of Honor. That's great. Give Ring of Honor notoriety, but nobody's going to care if you have it behind a freaking paywall. Nobody's going to care if you have it behind a paywall, then in a streaming service, nobody gives a damn about. I mean, Tony and those in charge of AEW, read the room. Read the room. If WBD is not going to give you the time and day to put Ring of Honor television weekly on Max, then maybe you shouldn't have freaking Ring of Honor. Or maybe what you should do is just come out and if you want to prove people wrong about what they say, then just admit it. Just say, yeah, Ring of Honor, it's kind of our developmental brand right now. And the only reason we have Jericho and Athena and Dustin and Sammy on there is to give it a little notoriety. But yeah, it's just basically developmental. You know, and they're just there to help the talent. Just admit it. Just admit it. Because when you have people like Athena breaking down in tears, when people at Corrigan Hall, in Japan, what is it, Osaka, Japan they're in? Oh, they were at? Having her breaking down in tears, emotionally, legitimately, and then doing so in a press conference. Basically, in her own way saying, I don't want to go back. I want to stay. Crediting them for bringing back her passion and love for professional wrestling. Again, that should be a sign that Tony needs to read the room. He needs to read it and be like, you know what? I'm just a fan. I tried. So I'm going to hand it off to those that have experience in the business and I'm going to be on the outside looking in. Do that! Do that and guess what? Maybe things will probably change. You know, it's no wonder when I see this. I see what's going on with Alistair. Malakai, if you will. I see what's going on with, you know, what he's got booked from Maximum Carnage Collision next week. When I see what's going on with Maximum Carnage Collision next week, it just shows you he's confused. He's not confused. He's confused because he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to move on. Yeah. He's confused. He's confused because he doesn't know who he's going to be able to choose to be his next Cody Rhodes, his next CM Punk. He's trying his best to figure out what can attract the fans' attention, and nothing's working. Nothing's working. You're having, like I said earlier, his own diehards on Twitter that support him, even saying, "What the F is going on?" And you can't tell me that the higher-ups of the WBD, like David Zasloff and Kathleen Finch and others, are not seeing this, hearing this, and being like, "What the hell did we get ourselves into? What is this guy doing?" You can't tell me they're not thinking that, because they are. But they can't do anything because they're legally in a contract with them right now until a certain time. Remember, there's an optional 4th year, but guess what? That optional 4th year ain't coming around. I guarantee you that optional 4th year has already been deleted. And I guarantee you Zasloff and Kathleen Finch are counting down the damn days and months, if not the next 2 years, before they can say, "Adios, Tony Khan, adios, AEW." And I guarantee you they're going to have some pull, and they're going to tell anybody that's thinking about acquiring AEW, "Oh, no, don't acquire them. Their guys, their boss is a lost cause. He's out of his mind." And I guarantee you when that time happens, Tony Khan's going to have no choice but to fold it up. Whether or not he has the money to keep it going, he's going to have no choice, maybe at the encouragement of his own father, to fold it up and say, "Well, I tried. I'm sorry, I tried." And then just let all this talent, out of their contracts, let them go to TNA, let them go to Japan, let them go to WWE, and be able to be happy. Tony Khan is not going to realize he's the problem until somebody at the WBD wakes him up, or even his own flesh and blood, his father, wakes him up and makes him realize, "You're screwing up this company. You need to step away." Because all Tony Khan is doing is, he's not just acting like Vince McMahon, as a lot of people put it. No, he's just being a fan, going like what what JD likes to imitate. He's acting like a little kid again, a fan going like, "Oh boy, I'm gonna get Chris Jericho, I'm gonna get Jeff Jarrett, I'm gonna put him for the Ring of Honor title, 60-minute Iron Man match, whoopee!" That's what he's doing. Oh, he's looking at Commander. He's looking at Commander, the Ring of Honor television champion. He's looking at Ray Phoenix. If he can get him back on television and say, "Ooh, Commander, Ray Phoenix. I know what to do. Commander, Ray Phoenix. Hologram. Oh, I know. I'll take one of the guys from CMLL. One of the top guys. Put him in there with Commander. Oh, I know. Yeah, I'll take that guy and Commander, and I'll make it a 60-minute Lucha Libre, anything goes, Iron Man match for the TV title. Yeah! Tony. Time to wake up. Time to wake up. I know you have your loyal fans, and that's great. They want to support you, that's fine. That's all up to them. Maybe they see something we don't. Maybe what they see is a glimmer of what WWE used to have in the 90s and early to mid 2000s with the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression, and maybe that's what draws them to AEW, because it reminds them of that. Well, if that's the case, then why don't they, and I've seen it as of late, why don't they, like some fans, come out and say, "Look, WWE, you want us to totally support you, and you want AEW to truly wake up? Give us back our Attitude Era! Give us back our Ruthless Aggression! Let's have a little blood and guts here and there! Let's have a little TNA, if you know what I mean!" Why don't the loyalists, just like some fans have that support AEW, have already done, why don't they just say that? Because that's why they support AEW, because it reminds them of that. It reminds them of that. Excuse me, Just come out and say that. You'll be surprised of how, of what can get done when you're honest about what you really want as to why you're really supporting All Elite Wrestling. And I get why the talents go there too. They go there because they have a little bit more creative freedom to be able to say what they want, do what they want. I get it. They have that creative freedom, but sooner or later that creative freedom comes to a crashing halt. It does. It'll come to a crashing halt. And we've already seen it. It'll come to a crashing halt before you know it. And you know what's crazy? Copeland debuted a little over a year ago, right? At Wrestle Dream 2022. Copeland, at first, was happy to be there. But you could really tell during that debut that the signs were there that maybe he's reconsidering his choice. Because when he debuted at Wrestle Dream 2022, he's used to going to both sides of the arena and seeing fans. He goes to the left side of the venue, no fans. He goes to the other side, there's fans. So that took him time to get used to. Guess what? Fast forward to recently. Yeah, he comes back at the end of World's End, and supports FTR, becomes rated FTR and everything, going after the trios titles if they want to. But you can already see a huge 180 turn in his expressions. You can already see it. And give the man credit. He is doing his damnedest to make this work. But you can already see it in his expressions that he's realized, yeah, this wasn't the right choice. And that maybe he should have stuck with WWE and just, work something out with them. Just work something out with them to where he could get the same kind of freedom he gets now, maybe more, as well as get the same kind of schedule, but not be so depressed. And you can see it on his face already. Don't tell me you can't. Go back and watch the video clips on AEW's YouTube channel. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The point is, everything I've shown you here, it's all on Tony Khan. It's all on him. And you have to wonder why he's not listening. Why he wants to be Vince McMahon. Is he becoming Vince McMahon because there is no Vince McMahon and he wants to fill that void? Or is he doing this to punish the fans, that left, with the talent that left, and went to go watch WWE and support other companies? Is he mad at them for leaving AEW, and that's why he's doing this? I mean, what does he want the fans to do? Huh? Give up WWE and go straight to AEW? If that's the case, then do something. Then you know what, Tony? Why don't you do something that I've been thinking about maybe you could do to try to see if you can gain interest? Challenge the fans. Call them out. Challenge them and say, I dare you. I challenge you to not watch WWE for 90 days and only watch AEW to see what we bring to the table, and then we'll let you judge for yourself. Why don't you do that, Tony? Why don't you do that? You might be surprised at what you get, but you know why he won't? Because he knows people will still watch WWE. People won't take him up on his offer because they know that's just the coward's way of saying, I lost. I'm losing the battle. I'm losing the war. There's only a few men left in the foxhole. There's nothing left. There's not much ammunition to go, to use anymore. I give up. White flag's about to go up. He won't do that because he knows fans would see it that way. That's why he's also not releasing the numbers off Max. Yeah. AEW simulcast now on TBS on TBS, and Max for Dynamite, and TNT and Max for Collision. You think that would work? You think that would be a win-win? But where's the victory? Where's the victory of the mother of all simulcast? It's nowhere. It's nowhere. And then you have people, loyalists of AEW, working at some of these places that talk about the viewership numbers. And they're trying to say WWE didn't do well on its debut night on Netflix. They say, oh, it only did 664K. When Variety comes out and says, not true, here's the real number of 4.9 million, if not 5 million plus, and growing in viewership, that just shows you that the loyalists of AEW are those that are in AEW, that know people that they pay off to make, what they want to be seen a reality. It shows you that they realize they're losing. They're losing the war. And it shows you Tony Khan is not just afraid, he's petty. He's petty. I talked about the pettiness when it comes to keeping Ray Phoenix and keeping Pentagon as long as he did. And maybe trying to do the same with Malakai. I don't think he will, because Malakai is not going to... Malakai is the kind of guy that, believe me, him and Zelina Vega will sue Tony Khan's ass. They will. But he's also petty because he doesn't want to release the viewership numbers on Max. He doesn't. And Max allows people to replay Dynamite and Collision after it's done. But, wait a minute. There's an issue on that, too. Because you know what? I tried to watch the replay of Dynamite on Max when they did the simulcast. Guess what? I got the replay, but I got it in Spanish only. Hopefully they fixed it. I'm sure they have. But that's another issue. WWE's already set and ready, prepared and everything to give you the replay, English, Spanish, and all that with Netflix. Done. Finished. Ready to go. You get the Spanish replay on Dynamite. That to me is stupid. That to me was a dumb thing. And then if that's not enough, again, he doesn't want to show the viewership numbers. He doesn't want to show the viewership numbers. Netflix was quick to do that. WWE and Netflix was quick to do that. He doesn't want to do it for Max, and especially when it's simulcasting. A simulcast gives you an edge, basically. It gives you an edge of not only allowing people to watch it on cable linear television like TBS and TNT, but it gives you the advantage to allow people to watch it wherever they want through their phones or their tablets. And that is not just fear on his part for not doing that. That's pettiness. That's pettiness because he knows if he shows it, basically those viewership numbers will barely be a blimp on the radar. People want to know why JD and Alex, JD of Off the Script, Alex of Alex's World, Solomonster, Heel Jesse of Chi-Town Mark, Greg Morgan of Good Mic Work, Eric Bischoff, Conan, A&B Convos, Jim Cornette, Vince Russo, and even those within his own company like Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. You want to know why they're critical? Tony, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. You want to know why they were critical about what you did with the CM Punk footage last year? Look in the mirror. You want to know why they're probably unhappy with you for not booking and, pushing correctly one of the hottest Lucha Libre tag team, sibling tag teams in recent memory? Both who have World Championship credentials written all over them? Look in the mirror. You want to know why Malakai Black doesn't want to be there anymore? Look in the mirror. Why he was glad to be wrestling at Coastal Championship Wrestling in Tampa in a brewery, in the back area of a brewery, where they have the beers and stuff, stored up? Look in the mirror. You want to know why Athena was in tears of leaving Japan and wanting to come back as quickly as possible? Look in the mirror. You want to know why WWE's already selling thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of Penta merchandise. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror, Tony. You're the problem. Not the fans. Not those that work with you. You. You're the problem. You want AEW to survive? And we all do. Because that's what wrestling needs. They need an AEW. Look in the mirror. Swallow your pride. Pick someone that has wrestling experience in writing good stories and booking matches based on those stories and featuring the talent that needs to be featured. And step away. Step away and watch from the outside and see how it's done. Or if you want to remain but want to learn, do what I said. Hand the pen and pencil and everything to those that have experience and shadow them. Shadow them, if you will. And what I mean by shadow them, I don't mean shadow them and make sure they're getting it right the way you would want it. No, I mean shadow them and learn how it's done. Or get out of the way and let those that have experience do it correctly. And I guarantee you, the moment you do that, Tony, AEW is going to be better off. You'll have more viewers coming in. You'll have more viewership numbers growing up, or going upwards. You'll have more attendances, coming in. You will not have to worry about criticalness of AEW ever again. You won't. Because, Tony, you have some bright spots there. You do. You just got to let the right people handle it and not handle it yourself. I mean, you're going to give the Hurt Syndicate the tag team titles. That being Lashley and Benjamin. Okay, that's fine. But you should know better. Lashley is world champion material. Wait till you get somebody else in the Hurt Syndicate. Wait till you get Anthony Bowens, if that's the direction you're going to go in. Wait, or basically try to get MVP to wrestle a lot more. And I guarantee you, let those two, Benjamin and MVP, or Benjamin and Bowens, go after the tag titles. Let Lashley go after the world title. That makes more sense than just putting Lashley and Benjamin as tag team. Because why bring them in if that's all you're going to do? And in Ricochet, you got something going with Ricochet. You just got to capitalize on it. You got to capitalize on it and move forward. You got something going on with that. You got something going on with that. Work with it. Don't hide behind it. Work with it. Because, Tony, if you don't do the right thing, after that third year, you won't have an optional fourth year. Because that third year will be your last. And in AEW, it's going to end up folding. Because I guarantee you, Zasloff, Finch, everybody's going to have some pull. They're going to tell people don't partner with AEW. The owner is insane. The owner is out of his mind. He's delusional. Tony, you need to step away. You need to. Okay? You need to step away because if you don't want to lose talent, if you don't want any more talent to be unhappy, step away. Okay? Step away from the pen, step away from the booking, and just be a fan. Just sit in the audience, be a fan. Sit in your office, be a fan. Sit at home, be a fan. But let somebody else handle it. Because you can't do it. You can't. You can't. And when you have someone like Copeland, Edge, already facially, expressively regretting his decision even though he won't admit it, that should be that should be a sign, a big red flag. And when you're depending on him and Christian to be the world title feud that you think is gonna sell out the home stadium of the Texas Rangers, for All In Texas, no, that's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. Because if this Death Riders storyline ain't working, if the Elite Hostile Takeover storyline wasn't working, it's time to reset. And by reset, like I said, step away, hand the booking pen and the creative pen to somebody else that knows what they're doing. Because you know what's crazy? Even in their dying days, WCW still sold out their venues. Venues bigger than what you're in right now, or you were in. They sold them out. They had decent sized crowds. And why? It wasn't because they were an established brand, for a long time. No, it wasn't just because of that. It's because even in its dying days, despite its internal problems, they still knew how to book stories. They still knew how to gain your interest. Say what you will about how Vince Russo would write some things, but he would take reality, blend it in as best as he could, and make it work. Why do you think the New Blood storyline, when it happened, got people talking for a while? Because it was based on reality. It was based on what was going on behind the scenes in WCW. That's what got people to tune in every week and watch, on Nitro and Thunder. That's what got people to tune in, buy a ticket and attend, not entirely sell out, but kind of put in a decent attendance number for Nitro and Thunder, because that storyline interested them and intrigued them. And this was in their dying days, their dying years. Tony, if you do not want, Tony, you are going into your 6th year of existence. Your 6th year of existence. We just celebrated the day it was founded. It was announced, the existence of AEW was announced. We celebrated 6th year. This past week. Come this spring, you're going to celebrate 6 years since the first event under the AEW banner. Do you want to live? Do you want this company to live to see another 6? I'm sure a lot of wrestling fans would. I would. But it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. And what's crazy? People talk about how pathetic the last Nitro was in Panama City for spring break. Guess what? That's how sometimes most of them were at the time. They would have bigger crowds because they were a resort. But even they knew, hey, we couldn't afford that resort, but we can afford being outside here. Guess what? Do you want one of your Dynamites, maybe one of the last Dynamites of your contractual, deal right now with with Warner? Do you want it to have less than the people that were attending the last Nitro? Do you want that? I wouldn't. Tony, if you do not want talents, talking about going elsewhere when the contract is up, if you do not want talents deciding they'd rather be, wrestling in front of a smaller sellout crowd in the back of a freaking brewery where they store the beers and stuff, if you'd rather not have talent do that and then show that while they're there performing, be much more happier. If you'd rather not have talents in tears wanting to stay in Japan and compete there, then go back and be, hidden behind a paywall, then it's time for you to step away, Tony. Step away. Because you are the one hurting the product. You are the one hurting the product. Okay? TNA is about to sell out for Genesis. They're about to sell out for the show in Los Angeles in several months. For Slammiversary in several months in Los Angeles, I think. Do you want to be outdone by TNA? I wouldn't. So if I was you, Tony Khan, I'd either step away, hand over the booking and writing creative duties to somebody else that has experience, or to other people that have experience, or I'd hand it off to them and just shadow them to see how it's done and learn, so that when I decide to take it over again, I'll know better. I'll be like, okay, now that I know how it's truly done, I know what to do. I know how to, get people's attention. The way you're doing things right now, is not that way. It's not. And you also need to get people to market your talent better. Don't just rely on Pro Wrestling Tees through your shopaew.com website, which is an extension to Pro Wrestling Tees. Don't just rely on them to help you sell merchandise. No. Get people to put a marketing plan together so that you will not be outdone by WWE marketing a talent that used to be yours even before that talent debuts in the ring for them. Tony, it's time to walk away. Walk away and let those that have experience take over and show you how it's done. But we're going to be real here. Even if he does that, it's probably too late. The damage is done. And I'm not going to be surprised that after that third year, like I said, that optional fourth year is already off the table, and they're off the air, they're off max, and you basically have the WBD telling people, do not partner with AEW because their owner, the boss, is just a fan who just wants to put dream matches on and doesn't care about anybody but himself. We might be at that point now. We might be at that point. We might even be at the point now to where even the third year will be erased and Tony will only have 2 years. So don't be surprised if we hear something like that in the future. That instead of going to 3 years, WBD wants to cut ties as soon as possible. Don't be surprised. Don't be. But yeah, all of this, AEW, I wish you all the best. I pray and hope All Elite Wrestling stays around for a long time because wrestling does need it outside of TNA and New Japan. But if Tony doesn't get out of the way and just hand over things to those that have experience in creative writing and booking, AEW ain't gonna last. It ain't. So that's all I'm gonna say, guys. That's all I'm gonna say. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this as wrestling fans, as casual wrestling fans, hardcore, semi-casual, or people that kind of understand what's happening here. Give me your take on it in the comments down below, as well as in the live chat if you want to. Ring the bell for notification, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere, like at rumble.com at BWRoses, odyssey.com at BWRoses, VENMO at BWRoses. Check out the Cash App and the Venmo if you want to help donate there. Also, I'm also on Patreon if you want to help me out there as well. Also, guys, check me out at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iHeart, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, you name it. Also, check me out at divanart.com at BVW1979. And check me out at BWRoses at inkbunny.net. And check out the Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. Links are in the description, like I said. But guys, give me your thoughts. Love to hear how you feel about all this. What do you think needs to be done? Or do you think basically Tony Khan is pretty much killing his own product? And is doing so because he's angry at the fact that fans have deserted him to go to WWE along with the wrestlers that want to go there away from AEW. Let me know in the comments. Like I said, love to hear your take on this. Because guys, If he doesn't step out of the way, AEW is not going to have the option for a fourth year, maybe not even the option for a third year. But let me know what your thoughts are, and until then, I am out.